Let's talk about rehab. What happens in rehab? What's the point of it? Will it be the thing that saves you? Will it be the thing that, sets you apart in your sobriety? Truth is, I went to rehab 4 or 5 times, spent in excess of $100,000 on my recovery, and that wasn't the thing that saved me. That wasn't the thing that stopped me drinking. So if you think that going to rehab is the answer, I'm here to tell you that actually it isn't the answer, because you're asking the wrong question. The right question would be, what do I need to do something different? What do I need to do to change my life? Rather than thinking, I need to go to rehab. I know when I was really deep in my addiction, when I was drinking every day and I couldn't see a way out. So I'd say to myself, if I could just go to rehab, if I could just find a way out of the hole, that would be the answer. And when I was in rehab, I met lots of different people in lots of different situations. And what stood out to me was you go to rehab when you've run out of answers. You go to rehab when you just don't know what to do. But I'm here to tell you, you know what to do. Stop drinking. And it's really, really, really that simple. If you're at the point where you're thinking about spending $20,000 to stop you drinking, stopping drinking is probably something that you need to do. And people go to rehab when they don't recognise that there is a way to do this without going to rehab. Yeah, rehab will get you the initial win. Rehab will help you over that initial period to give you a clean run at sobriety. But if you don't change your mindset, if you don't change the thing that's going to be with you long term, which is your mind, rehab's not going to help you. But you can do it without rehab. And like I said, I went to rehab 4 or 5 times, spending in excess of $100,000 to find out that I didn't actually need rehab. And all the time when I couldn't afford rehab, I thought rehab was the answer. I'd be like, if I could just go to rehab, this would be the answer. And this is the thing. We always look for the answer externally, but the answer is really deep down inside of our hearts. It's about accepting the challenge, accepting that it's going to be tough, and going through in spite of that, going through, doing the work. And what does the work look like? Well, the work looks like just stopping drinking. The work looks like the day after day of the monotony and the day after day of the consistency of showing up day after day, doing the same fucking thing over and over and over again until it's boring. And initially, sobriety is boring. I'm not going to lie and say that, you stop drinking and fucking, rainbows fall from the sky, because you and I know that bullshit. What happens initially when you stop drinking is the world becomes really fucking loud, really fucking open, and you're like, holy shit, here I am, exposed. You feel like everything's been stripped away and you're just there by yourself, exposed, naked, with nowhere to hide. And for some of us, that can be fucking really scary, especially when you've been hiding for so long. But the only way that you can learn how to hide, or the only way that you can get comfortable not hiding, is by being in reality, by being there and showing fucking up, being the man. Because part of being a man is not being afraid of living, not being afraid of being who you are. You don't have to be afraid of, who you are. You don't have to be afraid of making mistakes, because you're going to make mistakes. I make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You don't have to be afraid of really anything, because the fear comes from not being able to deal with it, not being able to do the right thing, not being able to move through it. But if you really know deep down inside that no matter what happens, you'll be okay, there's no such thing as fear, because you're okay. It's going to be okay. And I think that's one of the lessons that I've learned, is that the fear goes away the more that you know that whatever life throws at you, it'll be okay. And it's not okay as a Mary Poppins sort of, ha ha ha, it's going to be great. It's going to be ups, it's going to be downs, but you're going to be able to deal with it. You're going to be able to show up, you're going to be able to smash through, and you're going to be able to just keep on moving. And that's what it's all about. It's about consistency, showing up, doing the same thing over and over again, getting more and more comfortable in your skin, and getting sober, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 second at a time, over and over and over again. Because the only time that you can get sober is right now. You don't have to go to rehab. You don't need a magic wand. You don't need a miracle. All you need to do is recognise that you need to stop drinking. Drinking lies to you. So what you need to do is use the kill switch in the sober switch system. Recognise that drinking lies to you. So write down all the lies that alcohol's told you, that you needed to relax, you needed to, be happy, you needed to have fun, you needed to, and then on the other side, write down the truth. And when you recognise, when you be really fucking honest with yourself, you'll recognise that the truth is alcohol has nothing to offer you. Alcohol is a lie. Alcohol's been lying to you all this time. And it will continue to lie, and it will continue to destroy your life the more that you drink it. Because nobody, well, see, I guess I was going to say that nobody, thinks that alcohol's fun. But I guess when you think about it, when you first start drinking, it probably is a little bit fun, a little bit of freedom, a little bit of relief. But then as time goes on, as you get older, you need to drink more. You need to hide more. And then it loses its fun, it loses its joy, it loses everything, till it just becomes a pair of liquid handcuffs. You're handcuffed to the bottle. You're handcuffed to the misery, and you're handcuffed to the hangover, and you're handcuffed to, your potential being fucking stilted and stunted to a point where you lose control of yourself, your mind, your body, your health, everything. So you think about it. Do you really need to go to rehab to recognise that alcohol is destroying your life? That you need to stop? Do you really need to go to rehab to just stop doing something that's harmful? The reason why you keep doing it is because you believe that the alcohol has something to offer you. You believe that alcohol still has benefit. And no rehab will stop you from believing that, if you're not on board with that. And like I said, you have to kill it. You have to kill that belief. And you do that over and over again by writing down the lies of alcohol, writing it down, getting very fucking clear how alcohol lies to you, and then on the other side, write down the truth. Because just lie number one, alcohol helps me to relax. The truth is, alcohol doesn't help you relax. It puts your system under emotional, physical pressure, and creates anxiety, a physical anxiety, not a mental anxiety, because your body needs that. And when you don't have that in the system for a certain amount of time, you become anxious. And that anxious feeling is actually your craving for alcohol. And yes, you might have underlying anxiety, mental health anxiety, but you also have that physical anxiety, that jittery feeling that, that goes away the moment you have a drink. That first relief. And that's not going to go away by itself. It's going to go away by stopping drinking. That the physical anxiety I'm talking about. But it's going to take time. It's going to take a few weeks for that to happen. And that's okay. But what you need to do is you need to recognize that you don't want to drink anymore and go through that anxiety. You need to do that. So that can be why going to rehab can be an option, because it gives you that run up to going through that physical withdrawal in a comfortable, safe manner, because initially it's going to get hard. But as men, we do hard stuff all the time. This is relatively easy, mentally hard. But what's the alternative? Going through the rest of your life, handcuffed to a bottle, paying for the privilege to destroy your life, paying for the privilege to become a shell of the man that you want to be, paying for the privilege of not living up to your potential, paying for the privilege of letting down your family, paying for the privilege of just not being a man. Because real men don't need to hide. Real men don't fucking hide in a bottle. Real men face their problems head on, deal with life, and just do the work. You ask yourself, well, what could you learn at rehab? Ultimately, rehab, you don't really learn a lot, because initially you're just there, like exposed. And in some ways it can be even scarier, because you're surrounded by people that you don't really know. Yeah, you're going through a common experience, a common problem that you're all facing together, and you're moving through that to a solution of sobriety. But I found it difficult, because the truth is I'm not a social butterfly, and I'm pretty happy in my own company at times, and especially when I'm going through stuff, I tend to withdraw. And if you do that and you go to a rehab where you have to be like, sitting around, there's nothing to do except for talk to each other and be a butterfly, that can be difficult too. So if that's sort of how you are, think about it. Is that something that you want to be doing, sitting around sober, talking to people that you don't know about shit that you don't want to talk about your feelings, and about what's happening, and about the problems in your life and stuff like that? Because that's what happens in rehab. You spend the day talking about all of the things that you don't want to talk about, and that can be good and that can be helpful, but it can also just be what it'll be. Because I don't think, like when I really think about it, I probably started drinking because of, things that happened to me. But I continued drinking because it became a habit. And then it became a compulsion, then it became an addiction. So going back to the very start of the loop, talking about the reasons why I started drinking, I don't know if that was helpful. I don't know if that is where the solution is, and I may be wrong. But sometimes as men, we just need to get on with the fucking working on the solution. And if if you don't want to sit around talking about your feelings with your finger up your bum, going do 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 do, going to rehab isn't the answer. What you need to do is you need to just get really clear instructions. Go, do this, and you'll stop drinking. That's what the sober switch is all about. It's not about sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. It's not about talking about your feelings. It's not about discovering who you are as a person. Because the only way that you'll discover who you are as a person is by becoming that person that you want to be. Defining who you are. Defining who you are, changing your beliefs by your actions. And you need to take new actions to define who you are. And that's how our beliefs are formed is, first of all, we have an idea of who we want to be. Then our actions support that. And then we use our actions to reinforce our beliefs that creates the person that we are. And then when we believe it, we are that. And when you think about it, if you believe that you're a drunk, if you believe that you're weak, if you believe that you're hopeless, that started from somewhere. That started from letting yourself down. That started from disappointing others. That started from disappointing yourself. That started from consistency. So now you know that you can do consistency in the other way. You can do consistent wins. It's about the micro wins. It's not about stopping drinking and becoming a bloody, a superstar. It's about stacking micro wins day after day after day so that you can create a massive, massive result, which is sobriety. And one of the things that, all rehabs, that I've been to really push is going to 12-step meetings, AA, NA. And if that's not something that you want to, consistently do for the rest of your life, maybe it's not the answer. Because although, fellowship's good, fellowship in the Brotherhood is good, and it's a really important part of your sobriety, standing around talking about, what a piece of shit you are, and why you're an alcoholic, and why you're broken, and why you're this, and accepting that, that you're fundamentally flawed is not good for your belief. Because I don't identify as an alcoholic. I have alcoholic traits. I have to be careful when it comes to alcohol. But I'm a non-drinker. I don't drink. I'm not an alcoholic. There is a big difference. Because an alcoholic is somebody that is white-knuckling and hoping and wishing and praying that one day they could be free from alcohol. That, they have fear in their hearts that alcohol will come and attack them. But if you don't drink, you have no fear because you don't drink. Just like I don't smoke, so I have no fear of cigarettes. But if I was a smoker, or if I believed that I was an ex-smoker, a former smoker, slight difference, but I would still have some identity as a smoker. So you have to let go of that identity as a smoker, or as an alcoholic, or as a drinker. And when that identity changes, the belief changes. So you don't want to be going to, stand up in front of people and say, I'm an alcoholic. I am powerless over alcohol. Because that is not true. I am not powerless. I have power. I have the power of choice. I have the power of control. I have the power of, saying something and doing it. Alcohol has no power. It is liquid. It is poison, but it is liquid at the end of the day, and it has no power over you. So going to, paying $20,000 to go to AA and NA, which is free, mind you, if you want to go, if you want to experience that, you can go tonight, tomorrow, anytime. They're on all day, every day, all around the world, online, face-to-face, everywhere. So even if you just want to go and experience what it's like, you can do that without going to rehab. But, you probably won't because it's embarrassing and you'll probably be like, oh, fuck, I don't want to go. So, and if you think it's embarrassing going by yourself, try going with a rehab of a bunch of people that are, fiending for anything, and they'll go in and steal all the coffee and, raid the kitchen because, they can't get their fix of anything good, and they're starving and they're fiending for sugar, fiending for anything really. So try that. But ultimately, this video is about knowing that the solution isn't rehab. The solution is accepting that you can't drink, you don't want to drink, you're not a drinker, and that you can stop. And just doing rather than wishing and hoping. Do something different. Make better choices. Put down the drink. Seek support. Seek a brotherhood. Get people around you and start to move forward in your life. Because alcohol will ultimately destroy your life if you let it. But sobriety will give you freedom if you choose it. And that's why I invite you to join me at kickthepiss.com. Join the Brotherhood. And let's make a difference in your life. Let's make a difference in your family's life, and let's make a difference in your legacy. Don't wait for rehab. Don't wait for hope. Don't wait for a miracle, because you are the fucking miracle. The miracle is happening right now that you're listening to my voice and you're making the choice to say, no more, I fucking rise today. I am a non-drinker. You can do that. You can make that choice. You don't need to go to rehab. You don't need another magic fix. You are the miracle. Let's make it happen, because I believe in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself. Kickthepiss.com.